coming up on BCN today. A crash east of Coaldale claims the life of one person. Plus, Australian wildfires kill millions of animals and more than 20 people. We hear from a reporter down under. And students are back in class with resolutions for the new year.
Your Canada. Your Southern Alberta. Your stories. From our studios in the heart of Lethbridge, it's BCN Today with Jeanette Roche.
Hello, thank you for joining us on this first Tuesday of 2020. One person is dead following a collision east of Coaldale last night at approximately 8 p.m. Coaldale RCMP were dispatched to a two-vehicle collision involving a truck and a van at the junction of Highway 3 and Highway 512. The truck had two people in it. One of the occupants was taken to hospital for treatment of non-life-threatening injuries, and the second was treated on the scene. The lone occupant of the van was pronounced dead at the scene. The name of the deceased will not be released. RCMP continue to investigate. RCMP in southern Alberta are investigating what they are calling the undetermined death of a newborn. Police say they were called late Saturday morning about a sudden death at a home in Brooks. They say an autopsy was completed Monday, but the cause of death is not expected to be provided by the medical examiner's office for an extended period of time. According to police, there is no risk to the public. Alberta's energy minister is accusing the NDP of not supporting Alberta's oil and gas industry and of being hasty in its efforts to kill the energy war room. Sonia Savage was responding to energy critic Irfan Sabir, who said yesterday that the Canadian Energy Centre has seen so many flubs and mistakes that it should be shut down. Savage says the NDP criticized the centre from before it was even set up, calling for it to be preemptively scrapped. She says the centre's official launch was less than a month ago and that the full development of an organization of its nature takes time. A campus group that staged an anti-abortion protest at the University of Alberta has lost an appeal over how the school handled the event, but won a second appeal about security costs. Alberta Pro-Life sought a judicial review of the university's decision not to investigate the group's complaint that counter-demonstrators should have been disciplined in 2015 for blocking its displays. The group also wanted a review of the university's decision that they would have to pay over $17,000 to cover security costs for a similar protest it wanted to hold in 2016. Both applications had been previously dismissed by Court of Queen's Bench. In Australia, where so many wildfires rage on, so far more than 23 people have died, many families have been displaced, and hundreds of millions of animals are believed to have died, including many that are considered endangered. Teams on Australia's Kangaroo Island are having to euthanize livestock and wild animals suffering from burns. Australia's Prime Minister Scott Morrison has committed an extra $2 billion and dispatched 3,000 reservists to help fight the fires. BCN's Hal Roberts spoke with a Canadian journalist, Norman Hermant, who is living in Australia. He's a reporter with the Australia Broadcasting Corporation and joined us from Melbourne to talk about how much of Australia is still burning and which regions were hit the hardest.
They are very concerned, Hal, about these fires because the level of rain is really not enough to completely extinguish them, particularly the fires that are burning ferociously in southern New South Wales and in eastern Victoria, the border area there. They are hoping they can make some progress in the next couple of days because the weekend temperatures are expected to once again be in the high 30s and low 40s here with high winds. So they're expecting another spike day. And this is really the problem, Hal, is that these so-called spike days, spike periods have really been unprecedented for Australia. They've never seen a prolonged period like this where there's been so many hot, windy days, and they just do not have the moisture in the air. That's the real difference when it comes to climate.
Now, there were reports that many of the fires were deliberately set by arsonists. Can you confirm?
One of the reports was that there have been up to 200 reports of arsonists, but a number of journalists have tried to follow this up with police departments who, as you can imagine, are pretty highly stretched, and nobody can find any more than a few handful of reports of arson for delivery setting fires. So that report is one that I think a lot of people are questioning.
Why were so many of the millions of animals, I mean, we're talking cattle, the koala bears, kangaroos, not saved?
Well, as you can imagine, we're talking huge areas. Some of those, I would caution a little bit. I have seen those figures. Lots of people have seen those figures on the half a billion, 500 million animals may have perished. I did see a little more reporting on that yesterday. That many animals have been affected and driven out of their habitat, if you will. Now, many of those animals who have been driven out of their habitat will eventually perish. So there's no question we could receive that number. In terms of livestock, cattle, and sheep, just on the New South Wales Victoria border area, you're talking about approximately 4 million sheep, maybe over 600,000 or 700,000 beef cattle and dairy cattle.
Let's talk about how many people have lost their homes and businesses. Thousands have been displaced. How are they being helped?
That is one of the good news stories. Obviously, you referred to the Bushfire National Recovery Fund that the Prime Minister announced yesterday. Prime Minister Scott Morrison. That will be funded by at least $2 billion. We're told over the next 2 years, and he basically said money is no object. We're going to put as much money in there as we need to help the recovery. But in terms of just the grassroots fundraising, I mean, there have been literally tens of millions of dollars raised so far. As you can imagine, I have a lot of friends in Canada, friends and family. They are reaching out. I have friends in the US are reaching out. Some of these donations have been received from around the world. And of course, much like when this happens in Canada, communities are really coming together. People are opening their homes. There's already a program designed to match people who may be out of their homes if they need a bedroom, if people need a place to stay. There's really been people almost falling over themselves to get to the fire zone to bring donated goods. So that's the good news side of the story. There's been a lot of community outreach to help these people who've been so badly affected.
You know, Norman, we remember when Australia sent firefighters to help battle the Kino wildfires in our region in 2017. Alberta's now sent 34 firefighters to help battle the blazes where you are, and in total 87 Canadians. So hopefully we can really help you out at the same time. Norman Hermant, a journalist with the Australia Broadcasting Corporation, thanks for joining me today from Melbourne.
All right, thanks, Al.
A Lethbridge family is devastated following news that they may be torn apart. The parents of 6-year-old Jennifer Ortega were given the news by her doctor that she had been diagnosed with cancer of the kidneys. The issue has caught the attention of an organization called Love, Community and Opportunity International, as well as local community organizations and a city councilor.
It's exciting. We had a moment here where a family came up to us, and through the different channels, we found a family that's in desperate need of help. And the Ortega family that's have some health issues of one of their children. And so throughout all this time, we're trying to bring the community together to get the support services that they need so they can continue and focus on their family.
We know that both parents are now unemployed and are driving back and forth to Calgary for all the medical needs for the youngest daughter of 3 children in their family. We believe that community needs to come together, and we need to support each other, not just at Christmas. We need to support each other all year round. So here we are. We are calling out to the community of Lethbridge on January 11th to join us at the Church of the Latter-day Saints over on Forestry Avenue, so that we can come together to cook a month worth of meals for this family.
Children are also invited to get involved by writing letters of encouragement to Jennifer and the family. She will be meeting with specialists on January 15th in Calgary to discuss what her next steps will be. The Lethbridge Hurricanes were up early Monday to give back to the community. Many of the players were at the Lethbridge Soup Kitchen preparing and dishing out breakfast for those in need in our community. The Lethbridge Soup Kitchen has been providing meals for 35 years. They have more than 700 volunteers who help out annually, including local sports celebrities. The next game for the Lethbridge Hurricanes is this Friday in Calgary as they take on the Hitmen. Well, students are back to school, and with that comes a lot of fresh starts and New Year's resolutions. BCN's Loris Alexander spoke with Lethbridge College students and faculty about what their goals are for 2020.
Happy to be back. I like having a routine, but sometimes it can be a little busy. I think it's just maintaining my grades, balancing a lifestyle between friends and school as well.
I don't do New Year's resolutions because I don't want to have to break them.
I want to do better this semester than I did last semester. I want to get all A's, I guess, and so I'm just going to, start off strong and keep going the whole way. It's not really specific, but yeah.
I think for the new year, maybe go to the gym more often, and I mean, it's the time of the year when we get ready for beach season. And how to achieve it, I think just stay committed and set goals and chase them until you get there.
My New Year's resolution for school would be to go harder than I did last semester. I always feel there's room for improvement. So this semester, just keep doing what I've been doing, just add a bit more thrill to it, and can't wait to graduate, honestly. Yeah, just looking forward to that, honestly.
My New Year's resolution this year is to balance my time and enjoy life. So it's called more self-care and enjoy life, and that's my goal.
Today, Orthodox Ukrainians around the world, including here in Lethbridge, will be celebrating the Orthodox Christmas. Joshua with the Holy Trinity Church in Lethbridge explains why they do not celebrate Jesus' birthday on December 25th.
The Eastern Orthodox Church officially celebrates on two calendars. One is the Julian calendar, the revised Julian calendar, and the other is the Gregorian calendar. The Gregorian calendar was modified to better suit the civic holidays that were already in place. According to the revised Julian calendar, today's date is December the 25th, is Christmas, or what we call the Nativity of Jesus Christ. In the Orthodox tradition, one prepares for communion the night before. The celebration really is Eucharistic Sunday morning when communion is served. We will be having a compline at 6:30 p.m. That is followed actually by a potluck at 5 p.m. Tomorrow is January the 7th. We call it the Nativity of Christ, and the liturgy starts at 10 a.m.
The tradition of celebrating an Orthodox Christmas will continue on January 7th until the year 2101, when the Gregorian date changes to January 8th. The U.S. territory of Puerto Rico, still recovering from 2017's Hurricane Maria, is now dealing with a new natural disaster. Over the past 24 hours, the island has been hit with a series of increasingly powerful earthquakes. A 6.4 magnitude quake struck Puerto Rico before dawn this morning, causing widespread power outages. This video was taken from a camera rolling in a sound recording booth when the quake struck. It was followed 3 hours later by an aftershock that measured 6.0. The mayor of the city of Ponce said 8 people were injured. 1 person has also been confirmed dead. 2 Iranian news agencies say 40 people have been killed and over 200 were injured in a stampede that broke out during a funeral procession for a top Iranian general. The news agencies report the incident occurred today in Iran's southeastern city of Kerman. The stampede came just before the burial of General Qasem Soleimani, whose assassination in Baghdad by a U.S. airstrike has drastically raised tensions between Tehran and Washington. Yesterday's funeral procession in the Iranian capital drew over 1 million people. Well, we have some light snow in the forecast today, but it looks like eastern Canada is going to be getting a dump. Environment Canada has issued snowfall warnings for much of Nova Scotia. Complete weather details are coming up after the break. Welcome back. Here's a look at our weather highlights for today and tomorrow in Lethbridge. Today we do have some light flurries expected in the forecast. A high of -5 today and a low of -4 overnight. Not much of a differentiation there. A high tomorrow is 2 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. But looking ahead to the 5-day forecast, I hate to be the bearer of bad news for what is coming later on in the week. A high of -14 is expected tomorrow, but then climbing to -2 by Friday. But the weekend is going to get freezing. The high will be -19 Saturday, -21 on Sunday, and the high is only -22 on Monday and Sunday. And Monday we are expecting to see some more snow as well. The average high and lows for this time of year, the average high should be around -2, the average low around -14. Looks like we're going to be getting that later on this week. The high temperature for this day was in 2002 rather, it was 16 degrees, and the low temperature was -36, that was in 1989. The sun rose this morning at 8:28 a.m. and will be setting this afternoon by 4:48 p.m. Looking over to the west coast, we're going to be seeing some rain in British Columbia. Victoria's high 10 degrees. Vancouver's high today is 9 degrees. Up in Edmonton, their high will be -11 and -8 is expected today in Calgary. Both of those cities could see some snow flurries as well. Lots of sunshine though expected in Saskatchewan today. Saskatoon's high, a chilly -17 though. -15 is expected in Regina. So we're going to have those nice sunny days, but with crisp cold. -14 is the high in Winnipeg, and they are going to be seeing some snow as well. Lots of sun and cloud across this region here. Toronto's high is -3 today, +3 that is actually in Toronto, -2 in Ottawa, and -3 is expected today in Montreal. Now, Environment Canada has issued some severe snowfall for Nova Scotia particularly. They could be seeing 15 to 25 centimeters of snow in the next 24 hours and 70-kilometer winds. Fredericton's high is -2. Halifax will be seeing 0. Charlottetown -3 and -1 is the high in St. John's. That's your weather. Here's a look at what's happening in your community.
Here's your Bridge City News community calendar. Lethbridge residents are invited to an open house Thursday, January 9th between 5 and 8 p.m. at the Westminster Hall. This meeting is to give residents an opportunity to learn about future redevelopment policies and to provide feedback. Topics will include secondary suites, multifamily housing, building and site design, transportation, and utilities and servicing. Kid-friendly activities will be available. For more information, visit lethbridge.ca or call 311. Lethbridge Legal Guidance is a nonprofit society offering free legal advice to low-income Southern Albertans. It holds clinics on Tuesdays from 5 to 7 p.m. by appointment only. Some of the areas the society assists in include family, criminal, traffic, immigration, EI, and other issues. For more information, call 403-380-6338 or email lethbridgelegalguidance@telus.net. Looking for a fun place where you and your kids can play? Come for a fun family night to the Family Center in downtown Lethbridge, Thursday evenings from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. beginning January 9th. Me and My Family promotes learning through play and provides a safe place for kids to explore through physical activity, imagination, and creativity. For more information, visit famcenter.ca. And that's your Bridge City News community calendar.
Well, nobody likes a warm soda or beverage, so today's daily life hack is here to the rescue. Wrap a wet paper towel around your drink and place it in the freezer for 15 minutes. Your drink will cool down by about 10 degrees in that short amount of time. And there you go, that's been your daily life hack. And here's what's happening in the world of entertainment. Harvey Weinstein's jury selection is set to begin today in New York. Meanwhile, yesterday, new charges were laid against him in Los Angeles. Chris Hemsworth is the latest celebrity to announce a donation to Australia's fire relief. And the film Joker leads the pack with 11 British Academy of Film and Television Art nominations. Here is today's Showbiz Minute.
AP Showbiz Minute. Jury selection gets underway Tuesday in Harvey Weinstein's New York sexual assault trial. Weinstein is charged with raping a woman in a Manhattan hotel room in 2013 and forcibly performing a sex act on another woman in the city in 2006. Weinstein has said any sexual activity was consensual. LA prosecutors charged Weinstein Monday with sexually assaulting 2 women there in 2013. Chris Hemsworth says he'll be donating $1 million to fire relief in Australia. The star put a call out on Instagram Tuesday asking for others to donate whatever they can. Other A-listers who have announced donations in recent days include Kylie Minogue, Nicole Kidman and Margot Robbie. Todd Phillips' Joker leads the charge at this year's BAFTAs with 11 nominations, including Best Picture, Director and Actor for Joaquin Phoenix. The Best Picture race also includes Martin Scorsese's The Irishman, Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Sam Mendes' 1917 and Bong Joon-ho's Parasite. This is Nikki Finlay with AP Showbiz Minute.
As hostility mounts toward the U.S. in Iran, interpreters in neighboring Afghanistan who served alongside U.S. service members are desperate to get out. Some of their country considers them traitors. Sarah Blake Morgan with the Associated Press reports.
Nestled in a quiet North Carolina cul-de-sac, the American dream takes shape.
You strong? Do this?
This life is one Zia Ghafouri could only dream of while existing under the crushing grip of the Taliban in Afghanistan.
Now I can save my kids.
In 2014, fearing for their lives, Ghafouri and his family came to the United States on special immigrant visas, compensation for the 14 years he spent as an interpreter for U.S. Special Forces.
If you were working for Americans, you were called infidel.
Ghafouri, a Purple Heart recipient, fought alongside prestigious Green Berets like David Smythe.
They laid their lives on the line for your fellow Americans.
In 2007, Smythe hired this Afghan translator. The Associated Press is concealing his identity for safety reasons.
I put my life at risk and also my family's life in order to help the people of Afghanistan, our country, as well as the U.S. Armed Forces, because they came from too far away to help us.
He applied for his SIV in September, submitting dozens of documents and certificates from the U.S. military, along with this letter from David Smythe describing his interpreter as one of the most loyal and courageous men he's ever met.
If anybody deserves to come to the United States, it's these Afghan interpreters.
A new defense policy bill has opened up the door to 4,000 more SIVs for Afghans, but 19,000 are still waiting for the State Department to decide their fate.
I don't think it'll be long before the Taliban takes over Afghanistan again. And if that happens, then these guys are all targets and their entire families. So really, we need to move with a sense of urgency.
Are you hiding?
Ghafouri is juggling a family of 6 and a convenience store job, all while running his newly formed nonprofit, the Interpreting Freedom Foundation, which he launched to help his fellow interpreters navigate the SIV process and settle in the United States.
I don't want somebody else faced with those problems that I have been faced.
This man's heart beats in 2 places, his homeland and America, an open door he hopes to see his brothers soon walk through. Sarah Blake Morgan, The Associated Press.
Sometimes integrating politics in the classroom can be quite damaging, especially when the ideology is one-sided. That is according to a Manitoba high school teacher and author, Michael Zwagstra, who gives us his thoughts. That's coming up right after the break. Stay with us.